G'day Bifrosters, we're back. I have already made this once and it crashed a couple of times, so I'm making it again. Unfortunately, we lost everything we did in the last tutorial. That's alright, I've got a version here that I made earlier that I'll show you. It's also a little cleaner and better organised. But you can see all of the things we did from the last tutorial about trees. So the difference we're going to see here, the main difference we're going to see here is three things, and this is going to be important for later, so we will come back to it, but just take a look. So this is all the same as we did before, including the making the snow points white and things like that, but instead this time what we've done, we've added the snow color, which is just the final array, and the base color, which is the base color array, as properties on the object, and we've assigned an Arnold material to it, which is why I'm in Arnold at the moment, because as Jonah said in the Bifrost video that I'm basing this on, this can't be done in Bifrost right now. This is an Arnold thing. So I will go ahead and show you how to do it. So what I'm going to do to get us started is I will go over to this nice recently deleted blank scene, but instead of using the tree that we put together, I'm going to use this tree, which is the same as the tree we put together anyway. So let's just hide that. And I'm going to go back to viewport 2.0 for a little while. Just hide this as well for now. So before we do anything else, what I need us to do is I need something to scatter the trees on. So we'll do a plane, not a mesh, not a flash either. It's getting late. We'll create a mesh plane. I'll just wire that out to the output so we can see what's going on. I'm going to make a nice manicured strip of trees rather than anything else, and we'll just do that as well. This doesn't really matter, but hey, everyone's about the pretty, right? So this is a nice plane set up longer on the Z than it is on the X, which is all part of the plan. Next thing to do, we're going to scatter some points. We're going to use our old friend Blue Noise to do that. And we're not going to do that many points. We're going to do maybe 50 trees. There we go. That looks pretty nice. Probably still too many trees, so let's take that down to 30, just so we don't choke ourselves and crash like we did last time. So now what we need is a tree. Now, because I don't have speed tree or anything cool like that, or an Arnold ASS file or an AS file prepared earlier, I'm just going to go ahead and use the Bifrost graph that we made. Well, we're going to pretend that I made for this tree, and I'll show you that. There it is, that's the tree, as per usual. So, it's not very colourful without Arnold on, which is okay. So let's make some instances for that. Here's our points coming in. We'll just use the leaves for now, just to be happy. Instant, quite regular looking forest, single tree. Everyone's all facing the same way and doing the same thing. So I'm pretty sure we can do a wee bit better than that with some randomization. So let's randomize point rotation and randomize point scale. Just hook all that up. Do the scale first. Just little differences in scale, not great big ones. And for the rotation, I'm just going to take out the X and Z rotation. There we go. So they're all rotated different directions. That's looking a bit more natural in terms of trees. And the last thing we'll do with our before we create instances, I'm just going to assign an Arnold material here. But I'm not going to plug anything into it, so this is just going to clean up any material that comes through from my instance. So great, that's got our little forest set up. I'll just move this all up here and give it a backdrop so we know what's going on. What we need to do now is, don't you hate it when it does that? Or is it just me that hates it when it does that? There we go. So what we need to do now is we need to find a way to tell eventually our shader that we don't want any snow down this end and we want a lot of snow down this end. So to do that, again, I've drawn this from what Jonah put together. I'm going to get the point positions of our scatter points here. Again, this is a little custom node I made just to get positions and normals, and I'm going to feed it into another scatter node, another custom node that I made called set range. And what set range does is it just gets the array bounds as the from start and from end, and then whatever you put in here. So it's just a very quick way of remapping an array to a value. So we'll change that to 1, 1, and 1. This is all good. So it's taking all of these point positions, so the points that we've instanced the trees on, and converting them to 0 to 1 values. Of course, we don't want all of the axes, we just want the z axis, so do vector 3 to scalar. And last of all, we will put in and evaluate an F curve in there so that we have some control over the final result. Now, all of this gets wrapped up and popped onto the instances as a property. So set geo property, because, like I said earlier, all of this can't be done in Bifrost. So this is the part of the effect we have to take out and do it in Arnold or the render engine of your choice. Although I'm not sure how to do it in any other render engine, so I'm going to have to rely on your knowledge for that. This I'm going to call fraction. So now if I switch this over to Arnold, tidy up my workspace a bit as well, because I've already set up the shader that drives this should actually already work. Let's find out. You know, I knew that would come back to bite me. There we go. So as you can see, no snow, all the snow. Let me show you how we achieved that. Some things that you need to remember. This instance mesh, so this tree is carrying the snow color and the base color with it as properties. It also has a material assigned, which is this Arnold standard surface here. And then it's being output. Once it comes in here and gets scattered, we get essentially the z direction of the points, the z-axis of the points, as a value from 0 to 1. And then we're putting that onto the geometry and putting it out. Then when we get to our hypershade and take a look at our shader that's driving everything here, here's a workspace I didn't clean up earlier. You can see here, this is bringing in our base color, so let's be good and name it. This is bringing in our snow color, and this is bringing in our fraction. And so these are Arnold user data nodes. These two are color nodes, and this one's a float node. And all of this is getting pushed into a ramp, which you have to make sure is a custom ramp. The first color, so if we have a look here, ramp 0, ramp color is our base color, that's it there. And it's for ramp 1, which is our second color, that's our snow color, so these ones here. When Jonah did it in the video, I believe he used, well, first off, he did a lot more of a complicated ray trace than I did, but I believe he used either something like this or an actual AOV for compas, or he put it out to an AOV for compas, and he's quite right, like compas love that stuff. So what this is basically doing is taking the 2 point shaders, base and snow, and interpolating it through this fraction. Hide this for now. What this gives us a lot of power to do, let's pop that out there so we can see a bit better. Any changes I make to this F curve will be reflected on the shader. So, for example, if I was to change the distribution of the snow like this, it's more towards this end than this end. I can bring this down, and it's even further towards this end. I can put in a preset. It goes back to being more of a gradual. You get the idea. even have snowy trees down that end if I want to. So that's pretty much it. It's setting up a system with 3 attributes that are then controlled externally by the renderer. So this is pretty much the end of it. I'll do a very quick recap here so that we all know what we're doing. What I'm doing here is I am making a mesh plane, scattering some points on it, randomizing their rotations and scales, and assigning a blank material to help clean things up. And that becomes the basis of my instances. Into my instances are going the tree that we made over here as the instance geometry. It's only one at the moment. I should put branches and stuff in it as well, but this is in the interest of speed. Then I'm getting the point positions of the points that I've used to scatter, setting their range to 0 to 1 and all axes. I could just do it there if I wanted to. Converting that to scalar, taking the z value, because if we go to the top view, you can see my z-axis here and my z-axis here. Putting that into a f-curve so that if I want to edit how things look, I can do that. Reset that. Then I'm using this piece of data called that I've called diffraction. I've put that onto the mesh, onto the output mesh, and then in the hypershade I've set up an Arnold shader that takes the base color and the snow color, which, if I remember correctly, we applied to the instance before we brought it in as an instance geometry, so it's carrying both of those shaders with it. And the fraction, which we generated over here, pop that out of the way for now. So this is where the fraction's generated, which is just the z position of those points converted to a 0 to 1 scale. And that's how it works. Okay, so this is the end of the second tree related video. There will be a third one once I work out how to get the colours and shadows worked out and do a bit more heavy scattering, so that'll be coming along. Thank you very much for listening and for taking your time, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.